Been a long day, my friends, and I will get to the whiskey in a minute. I just wanted to let you know that I recently wrote a blog about struggle and why struggle is so important in our lives. I've just had a really long day, and I will tell you, the timing of that blog couldn't have been better because I am now reminded of some of the words that I wrote. We kind of live in a time where we are always looking for instant gratification and we want things on our timetable. But you have to remind yourself that sometimes the timetable we want is not necessarily the best timetable for really where we need to be going in our journey. So, you know, I sit here and I give advice, and sometimes people who watch may even say, this guy got it together, his life is better than mine somehow. Let me tell you something, we all struggle. We are all struggling constantly, whether it's to do better, to feel better, to just be a better person in general, whatever it is, whatever task is at hand. There's so many lessons that we learn from struggle. And among those things is what failure is all about. Failure, should not be looked upon as something in a negative way. It's actually something that teaches us life lessons. And we've got to embrace that. So when you find yourself struggling or even we say failing at something, you're really not failing. Use that time to learn and apply the lessons that you've learned, and that will make you better. It's when you repeat the same errors over and over again, then that's an issue. But there's no shame in trying something and attempting. We hear the cliche. One of my favorite lines that I heard a few years back was, sucking at something is the first step towards becoming really good at something. And if you've heard me play my bass guitar, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, why am I showing you this bottle of wonderful Scottish Highland whiskey? Well, it's not to promote it. It's the point that this is a 21-year-old bottle of whiskey. And the process of turning barley into whiskey, in this case, took 21 years. Every year that whiskey sits in a barrel, it gets darker and it gets richer and better. Same with wine. You just don't crush up grapes and put them in a bottle and expect to have a fine wine. It's the struggle, the process, everything that goes with it that finally makes it what it is, something special. So I just kind of wanted to end up a little bit on a positive little fun story since we're talking about Scottish whiskey. I know some people kind of wonder what's under a Scotsman's kilt, and I had a chance to visit Scotland last year, which is where we got this fine sample here. So, you may wonder, well, there's a story about that very subject, and essentially, Scotsman is in a bar, and he had a little bit too much to drink, and he stumbles home, and he passes out in a field. Well, a couple Irish girls walk by, and they notice him, and they kind of start giggling, because they want to know what's underneath a Scotsman's kilt. So they take a peek, and just as a little reminder, one of the girls has a blue ribbon in her hair, and she unties it, and then ties it around the Scotsman's little private parts. So the next day he wakes up and he doesn't necessarily feel so hot, and so he goes to relieve himself along by a tree somewhere, and he picks up his kilt and he notices the blue ribbon and says to himself, "Oh Lord, I don't know where I've been last night. It looks like but I've won first prize." So I hope you enjoyed that. Hope it solved a mystery for you too. And remember, embrace the struggle. There's nothing bad about it. We're all in this together. And just remember, we see you, we're here for you, and we are always here to assist you in every aspect of what you're doing in your endeavors. Till next time.